I'm ready. Ack.
Oh, I gotta fix one thing. Just give me a second here. I know why it did that now. Haha. Hello, folks. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna fix something real quick here. We are going to do that, and we're going to do. It's always the best when you're doing live streams that it does it right now. So I'm gonna go right 300. Nope. Right 10.
Oh, we're on the screen.
Yes, indeed you are. I'm just trying to fix the way in which it's shifted. So
I'm not on
left one,
Oh God, Shell in his hat.
300.
Well, you missed that.
We're getting there. 400. Oh, we're getting there. 420. That's just about there. I'm going to move me over.
Move that.
We had this all sorted before, and now it's just giving me a hard time. It would do that, wouldn't it? Okay, I need to crop it. Now, why is that still on that side? Oh, because of the screen share. Okay, we'll get there. Oh, technical difficulties, folks. Just give us a second here. Okay, so everybody's in other than from the right side, which means I have to do transform and transform from the right number. 50, 60.
1.
There. Okay, we're in.
Sorry, I'm back.
Finally, we are in. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Appreciate you stopping by on the stream today. We are in the first episode ever of the Gun Pit podcast. So basically, this is a group of gunners, 3 Canadian today, 1 Australian, that have joined me to talk a little bit about artillery stuff, basically. We haven't done a podcast before, so it's going to be a little hokey at first. It's going to be something that some of us haven't really done before. We're just going to chat as buddies. We're all good friends. We've known each other for quite a while now, I think at least 2 or 3 years. So some of you probably already know these people if you're part of the Discord channel. If you're not already part of the Discord, I would encourage you to go there. So we have myself, obviously. We have Reelogic. We have Shelldrake and V3. So you should know who those people are if you've been a part of my Discord. And if you're not, then it's definitely a good time for you to come join in. So today, folks, we are talking about the South Korean Evo 105 self-propelled gun tractor, which is a special little beast for sure. I'll let the boys kind of dig into it when we start rolling with the video. Before we do that, though, we want to make something very, very clear here. As we are gunners, we may have certain experience and background knowledge about certain things of the artillery, but we are certainly not subject matter experts. What that means is we are not preaching to the choir here saying that we know everything about the artillery. We're also active members of the armed forces, both in Australia and Canada. So we have to be careful on the kind of things we're talking about, the kind of things we're sharing. A lot of the information we're talking about today is very opinionated, so it's not related to any connection to the armed forces at all. It's basically just a bunch of dudes talking about stuff that we're really passionate about, which is artillery. But for the most part, we do not want to get in any trouble here. We're not trying to claim as if we know everything. So as we talk about this thing today, please take that with a pinch of salt. We don't want to cause any issues. So I guess without further ado, boys, we might as well just get this thing going. So I did tell the guys a little bit to research the vehicle. Thank you, Josh, you made for the super chats there. We did do a little bit of research on this vehicle before we even started today. First, before we even start the video, boys, what do you think of this thing?
Me want.
I want.
You want? Me want.
Very reminiscent of another system that's already been developed.
Agreed.
That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed. Anyone else?
I very much want.
I very much want. I very, very much want. Well,
It'd be cool but complicated to relearn.
agreed. I would agree on that for sure. Okay, let me just. I'm trying to get my display capture working again here. Oh, there we go. Perfect. It's working. So I'll talk a little bit about what we're going over today first. I guess a bit of background story to the topic today, folks. So, as you all know, the 4 of us are actually field gunners. So we work on the field artillery systems. So basically, howitzers that are not self-propelled. That means they cannot move themselves. We have to physically manhandle the guns. Boys, I think you can safely agree that's a lot of hard work.
Very much so. Yep.
So being
My
a gunner,
knees agree.
So being a gunner, it has its ups and its downs. One of the downs is that it can be really, really, really hard work lifting these things. I actually enjoy getting involved with them because it really kind of pushes the whole teamwork side of things. I don't know if the boys will agree with me on that.
Yes and no. I
Yep.
think it definitely adds to the teamwork for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be a well organized team for it to not be a complete pineapple. So yes,
A complete pineapple. Yeah, so it's a different beast when you start talking about like artillery pieces that can actually be pulled around on their own, right? Because you're taking the dynamic of the teamwork and the manhandling and the camaraderie of lifting the gun and all that sort of stuff out of the picture. And also, there's I think the side of safety too. I can assure you, one of these gentlemen has come across a situation where the guns nearly bit them. And when I say bit them, hurt them, right, boys? Like, am I wrong in saying that?
I mean, yeah,
Yep.
definitely it's a heavy piece of metal, so that alone it can cause injury.
yeah,
I've been punched by a tire more than twice.
So,
oh, and you guys didn't even have to do some of the drills we had to do on the Aussie 105. So trust me,
yeah, because
if you're not switched on, yeah, you're gonna get hurt.
and your gun's
It's a dangerous
bigger, right?
mixture.
Well, what was the size of your gun?
It was a 105,
Yeah.
but the thing was, it was originally designed to be towed by a rover, but then they realised the rovers sort of weren't powerful enough to take it wherever they wanted.
Yeah.
So it's got the same wheelbase as a rover, but that meant traversing the barrel meant you had to take the number 2 wheel off. So yeah, like I said, if you're not a well-organized team, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah. And I don't think this really takes away the organised team, because in the artillery, if you're new to what the artillery is, we have what's called fire discipline. So you're always going to be part of a team in the artillery. You're going to be a part of the team in the army no matter what you do. But the artillery, you're a very, I guess, coherent team to the point where it's almost like clockwork, right, guys? Like, speak before we go into the video, speak a little bit about what you feel in terms of, fire discipline and how it works as a team, how important that is.
Well, I mean, the job of artillery is to support infantry, so you want to get that done as quickly as possible. So you're going to have set routines that are done in a certain way at a certain time in a certain method. So you want to grease that down so that it's quickly and efficiently, so that you get the rounds of downrange, support the infantry and tanks and all those guys as quick as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the teamwork side for me, I don't think it's going to change with this new bit of kit. Like, we'll go through this video next and we'll go over it and we'll kind of break it down piece by piece, but I don't think that's going to change. But I think it's a different type or style of teamwork that you have with the field guns than you would to something like this, because something like this is a lot more automated, whereas when you're working as a team on a crew and the gun as a field gun, a lot of it's a manual basis. And some people disagree with that in the way in which they don't like the manual basis to the automatic basis. But anyway, let's get this video started. I'll pause it when we start hitting some key points here, and we'll go from there.
Position of Evo 105. This cutting-edge artillery, Evo 105, consists of the 7 major subsystems. Vehicle system, armament system, automatic fire control system, combined navigation system, gun.
Okay, let's just pause it there for a second, because the first question I have, okay, understandably we have a 6x6 truck, but my question to the rest of the podcast today is, what the hell is a combined navigation system? Like, what is that? I understand the automatic fire control system. I get that. But I'm presuming that the combined navigation system is similar to like the M777, like a GPS that knows where the gun is, right?
Yeah, it should automatically
Yeah,
lay the gun in, is what I'm.
Yeah, it lays the gun automatically to the GPO.
Okay. Because
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So from what I believe and understand, it's essentially orientates the gun automatically without needing to go off the lay off the GPO.
but
So
it's,
essentially, you could have your gun at your truck sideways and your gun facing towards the correct direction, but it will automatically know, okay, you haven't got enough traverse right to continue on or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I believe it is.
Well, that's because I don't think it's got anything to do with the vehicle itself. Like, it's not a sat navigation that's getting the vehicle to where it needs to be. That doesn't make sense. That's just a normal GPS, right?
No, that would just be navigation system, and that would be in the cab. There would be no reason for it to be on the howitzer.
Right. So then the automatic fire control system is pretty self-explanatory.
I wonder if the combined navigation system works in tandem with Recce Party
That's a
to
good
bring
point.
the guns into the correct
Yeah,
position.
they could lay GPS coordinates, and that's where the guns are meant to go.
That's a
Could
good
be
point.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, if you don't know what they're talking about in terms of recce troops, so what we have in the artillery is a recce party. So recce party normally scout out for the gun position prior to us arriving. So recce detach from the rest of the gun battery and go and recce or reconnoiter or reconnaissance the area on which the guns are going to be set up initially for lay. So what we were just saying there is we have the automatic fire control system, which we'll talk about in a second. But the combined navigation system, we believe, and it's hard to say because it doesn't show much yet. I'm sure the video will tell us more. But the combined navigation system is basically somewhat communicating already with the recce party who is ahead of this vehicle and telling the vehicle and the system already where it needs to be and what it has ready for it to actually put what's called a fire mission in place. So I think that's pretty cool. By the way, they've spelt vehicle terribly there. Vehicle.
Oh god.
Shield. Okay, let's talk about the vehicle, boys. Don't stop me if I'm wrong, but what vehicle is that?
It's a deuce and a half.
Looks like No, it actually looks like
MLVW.
the Mack truck that the army used to use for towing the 155s.
What's that called, Dalen? Oh, sorry. What's the not the brand? What's the truck? What's the truck's actual designation in the Canadian Armed Forces? Reelogic.
Oh, you're talking like an
MLVW.
MLVW. That's it. It's the so this is the old school American Army style truck. It must have been around since what, late 50s, 60s?
Yeah, it came into service in the 60s, and Americans call them deuce and a halves, like they're the old Vietnam style truck. Something that I would not put this kid on personally, but I mean.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. It does seem a little hokey, like a little
like
older of a platform.
Like the new Mercedes trucks that the Reg Force used for the M777s. That's what I would put that on.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I mean,
yeah, the Oz Army was using the Mack trucks to traverse the M777s, and that looks a lot like what I'm looking at here in a photo.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But to me, now
honestly though, the MLVW was an amazing system.
Yeah. I was just like I don't know if there are any Brits in the stream, but it's just like the Leyland DAF. The Leyland DAF was an old school truck. It was a beast. It went everywhere, the 4x4. And this probably, I've never driven one of these. I'd love to drive one of these, but I've never driven one before. But have you driven one before, V3?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Really?
Like, you can take these things anywhere. It will not get stuck.
I would actually really like to drive one of these things one day. I've driven a lot of vehicles, obviously.
Problem that we face. And
So on their website, it says that this vehicle, well, they call it, the designation is KM500 cargo truck.
KM500 cargo truck.
And it says it only develops 270 horsepower. That's not a lot.
What?
Well, and you got to think of how much gear is on the back of that thing, right? You've got the gun, probably a ton of ammo.
Yeah, so here it says the standard cargo truck has a payload capacity of 4,500 kilos off-road and 9,000 kilograms hard surface roads. So, howitzer is going to be taking up a big chunk of that. Well, fair enough, there's not going to be trails or anything.
Despite weight of trails, I reckon that thing's got to be pushing close to a ton.
Oh, for sure it is.
Because the 105 we had was 1,400. Around that, so that's 1.4 ton.
But
that's with trails and wheels, and they were a lightweight trails. They were actually honeycombed within the center for strength.
Yeah.
So they were a airborne design.
So Reelogic, you actually went to the you went to the customers, like you went to the developer of this truck's website, and it says it pushes 220 horsepower.
I don't think it's kind of like a Wikipedia type thing.
Oh, okay. But still, it's probably close to it, right?
It gives a lot of information, and it says that their resources are from their website. So.
Huh. Okay. Well, let's keep it going.
But horsepower doesn't mean anything, though.
True. That is true.
Torque is the big one in terms of that.
I honestly just think it's going to be a Samsung Daewoo knockoff of a Mac.
Yeah.
I think that's just all it is, really. Because you know how they tend to do that.
Let's put it this way, our current MSDS makes under 300.
That's fair one.
They are diesel engines, so fair enough.
This will be diesel, though. It's got to be. This has got to be
diesel. It's got to be.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's 11.2.
Actually, I heard it's a hybrid. You got to plug it into the local trees.
A hybrid gun tractor, that'd be hilarious. Another thing I've noticed on this thing...
Got to go green.
Go green.
That would be scary.
Is it's a shortened barrel. It is not a long barrel.
It's a C1. It's basically a C1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no muzzle brake on that either.
No. So if you're in the back of that thing firing, you're getting all that blast. You are getting every inch of that blast.
Ooh.
And
that recuperator on top is going to be working overtime.
Yeah.
It says the range is 11.2, so it obviously lowers the max range.
Oh yeah, 11.2. Yeah, that's not. Is that planning range or is that max range?
13. It says max.
Max.
Oh yeah, that's not good. You might as well get a bunch of bloody mortars.
Well, it's not too bad. I mean,
too bad.
That's a good vehicle for sure.
I mean, the only thing I'm concerned with it being such a short barrel like that, with no muzzle brake on it, would be the blast wave that you're going to... If you're sat in this cab here, or if you're in the back here firing, because I think in the video later on, and we'll take a look, but a couple of them are actually stood here manually firing this thing, and if you actually notice that there's actually a telescopic sight on top of the gun here, so maybe that's just a typo, but...
They might have just honestly taken a stock image of an old howitzer and just plunked it on there, but...
Yeah.
I don't see why you couldn't throw the C3 platform on there.
Too.
Not only that, could you imagine the contortion of the frame, the subframe of the truck?
Yeah.
That truck is not going to last... That truck won't last a year.
Well, I would definitely say that the truck would
does
be
have
the
stable
most...
lead.
What's that? V3, what'd you say?
It does have stabilizers, though.
True. Okay, let's keep rolling with the video. Let's see what else we
If
can
you
get
look
here.
under the cab, there's 2 stabilizers.
Just here?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Drive system. Mounting structure system. And communication system. The vehicle and armament systems utilize a 5-ton truck chassis and 105mm towed artillery piece. A heavy or light machine gun can also be mounted as a...
Okay, so let's just pause it there again. So, I guess it's obviously been specialized, mounted to the substructure of the frame of the truck. But still, to me, that's a lot of shock force to put onto the rigidity of a truck like that. I don't know how...
Yeah.
This doesn't really speak much to anything. This is just like a block of steel. I don't know what it is. Like if it's got bushings or if it's... But I don't know. It seems a lot. That seems like a lot of pressure to be pushed down, especially if you're going high angle, right? If you're going high angle... By the way, guys, if you don't know what high angle is, so it's when the gun barrel is pointed up beyond a certain point that allows the projectile to obviously fire at a higher angle. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, if you're firing high angle...
I do see... Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're firing high angle, the position of that right over the axle there, you're going to be folding your truck in half, essentially, if you're firing too many Charge 7 high angles.
Thanks for the...
Because those support struts underneath aren't going to do much for that, for firing in that direction.
Yeah, I agree.
They have to, well, unless they do a reinforced frame.
One thing I do see...
Go ahead, V3.
One thing I do notice is the gun is right over the axle, which is the strongest point of the truck. Secondly, the supports are behind the gun, much like a trail. So it has 2 direct routes to the ground, which is going to help with stability and structural support.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I would agree with you. So it technically is using the 4 substructure leaf springs, the tires, providing you a lot of support there, right? Like that's what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
My question is, what's going to stop the truck?
Combined with
Well, I was going to say, if that's like an open action or whatever, and you're firing that directly behind the truck, charge 7, air brake on a sandy surface. Air brakes are great, but that truck's going to move.
Yeah, where's the trails? Where's the spades?
Well, I think it has.
I need spades.
I think it has like pistons that come down from the side of it. I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah,
but that might not be enough.
I
think that's projecting force down, but not out.
No.
So to your point, Reelogic, if you fire this charge 7, which is, by the way, folks, the highest charge of which we would fire the gun, is basically the number of bag charges we place inside the cartridge. I guess I can't show you really very well here, but our ammunition that we use on the 105mm and what this gun uses is what's called 2-piece ammunition. So we have the projectile and the casing. The casing holds up to 7 bags worth of charge. Oh, there you go. See, so it's been shown here by Shelldrake. So there's the casing. So that casing would hold about 7 small bags of charge. The more bags of charge you put in there, the further the projectile fires. So what Reelogic is saying is that if you were to place 7 charge bags into that casing to fire the projectile and fired it, the way in which the truck's designed with just tires holding it, if you were to set the gun at a lower angle, i.e. depress it down this way, similar to what you just saw in the subscribe picture there, you can see the trails pushing back, okay? The truck could do the same thing, which would affect the way in which you're actually hitting the target. So, kind of an interesting dynamic there, for sure. Yeah.
I wonder if those
what you could
support
do
struts actually
is
lift the truck off the ground as well.
Well, it does lift. I think it does lift the truck off.
Well, they probably do.
Yeah.
But what you could do is you could fire the gun, but also fire the machine gun to counteract it, you know?
Rocket jump.
Fire the 50 cal one way, fire the gun the other way. It just counteracts it. I like it. Thank you for the super chats, Marcus. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's keep going, see what else we can find out.
Secondary weapon. The automatic fire control system calculates
So where did
firing
those ammo
data
tubes
and
go? It had a
automatic.
little gif of ammo tubes. Where
Yeah,
did
I was
did
just
they go into the
thinking,
tunnel?
because I could see 2 storage boxes right at the end of the truck, but I'm wondering where's the ammo storage? Because I'm guessing
it says
that
on the
compartment
website
in the
that
back
it's
where all
in-
the electronics is kept, that's the crew compartment. So do they have a support vehicle following them, chucking rounds up over
They've
the
got
side
it.
of the truck or something?
They've
Because-
got to.
because the tubes go into the cab in that little animation that they had a couple seconds ago.
Oh, really?
It shows the ammo stowage goes into the cab.
Systems utilize a 5-ton truck.
Wow, that's going to be so tight.
And it says that the complement is 60 rounds this thing can hold.
60? That's pretty impressive.
What?
It is.
Oh, I
You see
see.
it?
I see it. Yeah, there it is.
It goes into the cab. So if you have it, that's going to be tight
12,
space.
14, 16, 18, 20.
Yeah.
There's 24 rounds there that
24
you can
rounds
put in
there.
the side.
But
So
it says here on the website that it can carry 60 somewhere.
Well, I'm presuming, and stop me if I'm wrong, but I'm presuming they're probably like 24 ready to go, and then the rest are in the back here.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
if you're in a prolonged fire mission, your rounds are probably stuck here, but it's similar to a tank, right? Like you have your ready racks with your 20 rounds or so, but eventually you're gonna have to traverse the turret, replenish your ready racks, and get this batch set back up. Which I presume these back bins here carry the rest of the projectiles and the ammo here, right? Am I wrong in saying that?
No, that would make sense to me.
If you notice too, can you see these 3 chairs?
Where would gun stores go?
Well, yeah, the gun stores
Oh,
are probably
God,
going to
the
come in
legroom.
one of these bins too then, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
The other thing I'm just thinking of now is doing
Or
the pull through would be a real pain in the butt.
Yeah, it's true.
It would.
Yeah.
That'd be a real pain in the butt.
Also, I'd probably mount the hand spike on the front just for intimidation factor.
Have you noticed the 3 seats here, though? So, because I was trying to think, like, the MSVS, which, by the way, folks, in the Canadian Army, the MSVS is our gun tractor, so our gun truck. We have a huge cab attached to the back of the truck to allow us to fit our crew members in there. This doesn't have as big of a cab. Yeah, pretty much a battle bus. But I do notice 1, 2, 3 seats here. So I'm presuming the front of the cab is going to carry 3 standalone members. So the driver, co-driver, and then 1 extra, probably the commander. And then your 3 other troops. So I'm carrying 6 troops in this thing. That would be tight. It would be tight in there.
With all your kit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's I'm wondering if it's a 5-man deck
go?
On the outside.
Yeah, they'd have to attach it to the outside.
I mean, it might be a limited or a reduced debt because now that it's not towed, you may not need as many troops to fucking manhandle the gun.
True. Jace yelling in the streams had quite an interesting comment here. Why not install tracks? That would actually, if you put tracks on the back, but a half track, that would actually kind of make a bit of sense.
Why not just give it a paladin? We just make it a paladin and we're good to go.
Well, because I guess the basis of this is to make something that's like make
cheaper.
the field gun cheap, right? Yeah, exactly. Make a mobile cheap gun. Whereas self-propelled houses cost a lot of money. So
they do.
I could do it a lot cheaper for them. Toyota Hilux.
I don't know if you could put a 105mm on the back of a Toyota Hilux. I don't know how well that would go.
We can always try.
Hey, they've done it in Syria.
That's true. They have done it. Okay,
I was trying to avoid that, but they're the unkillable truck over here.
I'm kind of impressed, though, how much ammunition they're storing in this side compartment. But the problem with this is, okay, great. You've got ammunition here ready to go, but stop me if I'm wrong here, boys, but setting up ammunition takes just as much space as it does storing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I would say even more.
Anyone want to explain that?
Yeah. Okay, so with 2-piece ammunition such as this, you need a mating table, and you need your cartridge cases, and you need your projectiles. So depending on what you need, you got to mate your ammunition to the correct bag size, and then you've got to set your fuse. So that is a lot of running around in a very confined space, which I'm thinking these guys are going to have to be running some sort of already fixed ammunition of some sort. But seeing as they've said it's a wheeled towed gun, it would have to be 2-part ammunition.
Yeah, it has to be 2-part because that's the gun platform that they're using, right?
The platform that they're using, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no other way that they get around it, but it's going to be tight.
Would suck. Thinking about it, you know what would suck?
Go for it.
Doing any setting up of ammunition at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Like setting charges, setting fuses. There is not enough room on that deck for anything.
But wait, there's more. Hold on, let's keep rolling with the video because I'm pretty sure these things here, they come out the side, right?
Yeah, they do. I think they lower it down, so that could be an option.
The automatic fire control system calculates firing data and automatically controls gun laying coupled with the combined navigation system and gun drive system in real time. Display and control panels provide enhanced operability thanks to the adoption of high-end touchscreen.
That's talking about there's no hand crank or hand wheels anymore on this one.
Well,
it's all joystick operated.
There is. There's still manual workings on the gun, but they're a redundancy.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they've taken they've put them as a backup plan, but the motors, all these little gizmos, operate the gun independently from inside, which is kind of different, you know. But this is the thing. Go ahead.
That's more systems. I was just about to say that's more systems to be cramped inside there.
Yeah.
These guys are going to have their knees up by their ears.
Yep. Well,
especially if they're from a Western country or like over in Europe where the guys are, 6'5" and that's considered short.
Yeah, it would be special. The only thing I
might be slow, but I just realized that's a C1.
It's a what? Yeah, it's a C1.
It's a C1.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's an M1
They're still
howitzer.
using
It's
them.
the
Wow.
standard American M1 howitzer that's put on the back of a truck, I guess. So let's go back a little bit here. I want to see. So let's go back to here. So automatic fire control system, firing data calculation, and gun laying control, touchscreen control panel. So this particular image is showing no 3-sight. That's all. It's gone.
There's your joystick on your left, though.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine just going direct fire with this thing? We laugh, but they exist.
Could you imagine how finicky laying that thing would be with the joystick?
The 3-sight's right in the center.
Oh, it is. You're right. Yeah, it's still there. You're right. It's just harder to see. Hold on. Let's just see if I can get it back a little bit more. Oh,
Yep,
yeah. There it is. There it is. 3-sight's still there. Wow, it's amazing how it literally looks just like the gun. So there's the joystick. So you'd be standing there operating this thing with the joystick. But here's a question for you. It says touchscreen panels. I guess maybe they just didn't put it in for the demo, but where are the panels to tell you where you're supposed to aim this thing?
They're inside the cab.
Ah, okay. I got you. Okay.
So that doesn't really make sense.
But
what is that guy looking at then? Is he getting orders from number one, left, right? You know?
No, I think
has
gun data, dude.
he got a collimator off the tailgate or something?
No, I think that joystick is taking over the controls of the wheels, right? I think, like you said, Shelldrake, I think the wheels are useless because what they've done. Thank you for the super chat, Paul. Appreciate that. What they've done is the joystick is the backup now. So you use the normal in the cab, right? You use the touchscreen panel in the cab, and if that fails, you come outside and use the joystick. You don't use the handles. Do you think that would be a fair assessment? So that if you have to lay on the gun using the 3-sight, you're basically using the joystick now and using the motor. And I guess if the motor fails, then you just
all I'm thinking in my brain is electronics failure. Like we always trained on the guns, everything is manually done. So you know how to do it. So you don't get complacent in working with hydraulics and whatnot.
Right.
Because I spent a year working on a M198, which is the 155, which was replaced by the M777, but that actually had a hydraulic ram to lower and to bring the gun into position to be the base plate. So that was hydraulically cranked down every time because, yes, you could hook it up to the truck and use the Mack truck's hydraulics, but if you get too complacent and go, okay, oh no, it's broken, the Mack truck's been blown up, Mack truck's broken or broke down, whatever. How do we get the gun in position? You already know. Yeah. You're well versed in how many cranks it takes to lower that bloody thing, and it's a lot, and it's very loud.
So we can all agree then that primarily. Go ahead, V3.
One thing I'm thinking about right now is just how finicky that joystick would be.
Very true.
Like, if you've ever tried to make accurate movements with the joystick, it is not easy.
Could you imagine if it had lag?
And oh god,
it's lag. It's like a 6-second delay. You're like bearing 0631. That would suck.
But also looking at how tight the back of the tray is, you would not have much traverse at all. Probably 100 degrees.
No, I think you would have more. I don't think you'd be able to. I don't think it's a 360 traverse, but I'm pretty confident it's a 180. Like it covers the arc from here to here across. I'm pretty sure it'll cover that arc. I'd be surprised if it didn't.
One thing is
the electric joystick
can't yell about being in the trail.
Oh, so I was reading the electric joystick enables the gunner to elevate to -5 to +65 degrees and traverse the weapon 90 degrees left and right.
Oh. Interesting. So it does go to 180 then.
Yeah, with manual backup controls available. So those wheels, those hand cranks are there.
So they are back. So that's the third. That's the third thing, right? So you got your primary in here with all that link communication crap going on, like all this junk. So this is your primary, right? This is your primary gun laying system that we're looking at here. So we're putting our data in here, punching in all the data. The gun will align to that data, right? The gun traverses back to position where you want it to be, right? That's your primary, I'm presuming. That's got to be your primary means of laying the gun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much automated. So if that fails, you're going to go to coming out here, like onto the gun deck, using your 3-sight, and then operating the joystick, right? So that's going to be your secondary. And then if the motor fails, like the internal motor that this thing operates on, then you're just going back to the handles, right? Hand cranking this bad boy.
Yep.
Right, hand crank and hand crank. Interesting. Very interesting. The only concern I'd have as well with all these electronics is if you cut that wire accidentally, because a lot of thing goes on the gun, right? If you accidentally cut that wire, you're pooched. Right? If anything
Or
gets caught on that.
or if you take small arms fire.
True, or shrapnel.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be taking small arms fire though, but hopefully.
There'd be a lot of other issues if you take it small.
Automatic firing data collection.
One thing I want to point out is it's already pretty useless for a Canadian system.
Why?
Reason being is touchscreens and gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll give you a stylus.
They'll give you a stylus, exactly. You can get a stylus pretty easily. You can make a stylus pretty easily too nowadays. You get a temp peg and put some tape on the end of it. It tends to work. But I agree, it would be...
One more thing to leave, though.
True, that is true. Hopefully the interior of this thing, though, is pretty... Like, this is heated, like, because you're in the cab, but hard to say.
No, it's probably got air conditioning.
Have you noticed there's two here, though? So there's one... That's pretty cool. There's one on the outside. No. Okay, let's just cross-analyze this, guys, because I think this is a little important. So... I'm just going to play this muted. I just want to watch where the feed of this goes. So it comes down, comes across. It must be some junction box. Okay, so that's on the exterior of the truck. Like, that's on the outside.
There's that box that it's kind of...
And it looks like it's on a door.
Yeah. So that
No, I think it's in a cubby. Because it looks like there's a door that's kind of half faded. So it'd be like a bustle almost. You'd open that bustle up and there would be this screen.
Yeah, I
can
would
see
say
a
that.
handle there to the left, and I can see hinges.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, would there be direct access from the back of the cab to the gun platform?
I'm presuming this is for those who are using the gun, like, from a manual standpoint. So if the interior system's failing, but they can still operate the gun manually outside and they want to look at the data, this is where they're crunching it, right? So it's showing, like, if your 3-sight's not working, but your electronic gyros and stuff are, this is showing your azimuth and your bearing and your angles and stuff on here. But it allows the people outside of here to still see. So I'm presuming that panel would go somewhere like here, right? So
Yeah.
the crew can still look at it.
It would
and
also
see the data.
allow for anyone setting up ammo and fuses to know charge and fuse setting.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That is exactly probably what it is, man. You got a good point. So that's probably ammo data. Yeah. Boys are inside doing the bearings and stuff, right? And then the ammo data comes out on that. That makes sense.
So I wonder, would that all be connected to the CP, and would the CP just kind of like wirelessly send you all that data, or would that still be sent over comms, and then whoever's in the cab would manually input it into this computer system?
That's a very
I'm not
good point.
entirely sure how this works.
So guys,
It'd be handy as well.
So what the stream's saying, what the guys are talking about right now, so we have data that's sent from the command post. So the command post send us information to allow us to lay the guns. They're always going to be the ones that send the master data or the information we need to actually give the correct bearings and angles to the gun of where to fire, all the data that we need. They're very powerful computers and mathematics they have in the command post. that allow us to put that data in there. So what Reelogic is saying is, does the data that's sent from the command post still get sent electronically via voice command, i.e. they're just calling us on the radio and telling us, hey, here's your bearing, here's your angle, whatever else, right? All the data that we need. Or does the CP wirelessly send that data to this computer that we're looking at right now to kind of get ahead of the game? That's a good point. What would you guys think? You guys think they would be sending it via the net still?
There would be voice. There would be voice, none, regardless.
Yeah,
They wouldn't be
yeah.
doing
I'd say it would be manually input, because there's too many factors in electronic warfare now that would stop a automatic lay. And if you have an automatic lay, you're almost making your crew redundant.
Yeah, see, so now Jack Kesty in the chat just said, ideally it would be wireless. That's how we do it in the American artillery, but you can always do it by voice. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of opens up an interesting dynamic, really, doesn't it? Would you trust the system giving you the correct
Well, the
data?
Hawkeye's wireless.
What's that?
The Hawkeye's wireless.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, it does open up a very good question. Would you trust data coming straight over a wireless network, especially in today's age? Or would you prefer listening to, and this is a question to the podcast, is would you prefer listening to the radio for your fire mission and data? Or would you prefer to get it quick, short, sharp, and quickly on the system wirelessly? I'll pose that question to you guys. Starting with Reelogic, what do you think?
I would prefer both. I would have it wirelessly sent to me, while simultaneously the CP is saying, going through, this is your elevation, this is your bearing, and I'm looking at the screen going, yep, that's all coming through on my end. Good. We're good to go.
That makes sense. Yep, okay. Shelldrake?
I'm of the same thought. I think it could be sent wirelessly while the CP parrots the information to you, so that you can go correct line load, and you know that you're getting the correct information. But I also think they should be parroting it back so that the CP knows that they've got the correct information.
Fair enough. Okay. What about yourself, V3?
I agree with the boys here on this one. As I say, gunners are the masters of the double check.
Yep, fair one.
That's our bread and butter.
So you're basically saying that you'd like to have the data sent wirelessly, but at the same time verifying the data is correct with the command post to ensure that it's all there. I mean, I think we do that anyway, right? We would still verify. Yeah. But what you're saying is via the net, literally as data is coming in, you're verifying. You're not verifying to fire. You're verifying that everything's correct prior to, right? Yeah. Kind of, I guess, reciprocating back to the CP what you've already been sent.
Yeah, and then that at the same time, if for whatever reason that system isn't working, the voice procedure is still in place that would allow you to just take direct orders from the CP and then manually input it.
Right. Fair one. Okay, interesting. Just send me a fax. Someone said to send me a fax. You could just imagine
dial-up internet.
Dial-up. Fire mission battery.
And while it's doing its dial-up noises, you just hear fire mission battery.
Thanks for the super chat. Touch with the pipe cap. Appreciate that. What about danger close? We'll talk a little bit about that later on. Anyway, let's continue on. So we've pretty much hashed out the. Let's just go a review here. So the system has 3 variants of laying the gun in. We have the interior data corrections that are put onto the system. The system speaks to the motors and the fire control system, and the gun traverses itself onto target. And then I guess the guys on the outside are only doing the loading and the firing of the gun. I don't know if even the trigger might actually be both manual. I'm presuming it's manual or automatic too. So that's the first way of getting this gun working. The second way is that if the interior systems aren't working, they use the 3-sight, which is basically the manual optic that we use to lay in the gun, and then use the joystick to actually traverse the gun left or right. So you're still using the old school method of laying the gun in, but a more automatic moving, physical moving of the gun. And then the third position, or the third way of using the gun, is you have your telescopic sight, your number 3 sight, your panoramic sight there, and then you use the handles, which is, I guess, literally your emergency thing, which is for us our standard thing. We as gunners in the podcast today, this is our norm. This is our number one. We use the handles to elevate and traverse the gun. But exactly. But in this instance, there's a few different ways of doing it, so it's kind of interesting. Anyway, let's keep going here. We'll review some more of the video.
System calculates firing data and automatically controls gun laying coupled with the combined navigation system and gun drive system in real time. Display and control panels provide enhanced operability thanks to the adoption of high-end touchscreen. The combined navigation system transmits the location and attitude information of the gun to the automatic fire control system in real time.
Okay, so there it is, guys. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast. Here is, in terms of navigation, it's picking up data from inertial navigation, vehicle motion sensor, and just a standard GPS receiver. So almost like where the missile knows where it is, it's the same for the gun, right?
Yep.
It's got to be. That's a lot of info that it's pulling in there, though. I was only expecting like one sensor or one GPS, but it looks like it's pulling in from 3 different sources of information. That's kind of interesting.
I just feel so worried for this vehicle in today's day and age. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. In today's day and age, with conventional warfare, that's a lot of information to be putting out there that can be either captured or jammed.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, this is susceptible to somewhat of an attack, right?
Yeah.
We could definitely become too dependent on it as a need for firing.
Yeah.
Because if the whole idea of this vehicle was to make a cheap SP, I hope that's the most expensive system they've got in the whole thing, because you're going to need it.
Agreed. So Ian Sava just asked, what does lay the gun mean? Is that a procedure for preparing the gun for firing? So Ian Sava, laying the gun basically means the way in which we aim the gun. It's a fancy way of saying almost aiming the gun. When we lay into a bearing, we're... I can't really put a connection to the word lay, but we're aiming the gun. So laying in of the gun is aligning the gun to various angles or bearings to allow us to have a method of firing. So it's basically maneuvering the gun into a position that lines up for where we want it to shoot. That's the basis of it, really. So, okay, so let's keep moving on then. So we know it uses very heavily, from an automatic perspective, a lot of GPS information.
Control system in real time. It guarantees the firing accuracy by compensating for deviation in aim angle caused by the firing impact.
Whoa. So stop me if I'm wrong here, boys, but what that just said is it's compensating for... It's basically compensating...
Deviation.
Yeah, it's compensating for deviation, and if the gun fires and the truck does move, which we mentioned earlier it probably would, the system's encountering for that? That's pretty cool.
That would be good.
Yeah.
So this system here, let's just go back. This one, right, the VMS, the vehicle motion sensor, presumably is the one that's noticing that once you fired, you're going to have to correct, right? And the system automatically takes in consideration of that.
I would assume that's what that means. I can't imagine that you're going to be firing on the move, so...
No, exactly.
That's the only other motion I can think the vehicle would be undertaking.
That would be wild.
That'd be pretty cool, eh? So the gun shifts like a couple of inches in the soil once you push around down the tube, and then the system automatically knows you've moved 2 or 3 inches and corrects for it. It's pretty badass, actually.
That would be cool.
Displacement too.
Well, I guess that's it's taking displacement into consideration there, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Okay, let's keep pushing.
Deviation in aim angle caused by the firing impact. The gun drive system consists of the drive control unit, the elevation traverse driving device, the gun carriage, and the gun travel lock. Linked with the automatic fire control system, it lays the gun automatically. If necessary, however, the semi-automatic gun laying using a joystick and manual gun laying are also possible.
When it fired.
There you go. So he just confirmed exactly what we just said. So manual capabilities, but primarily an automatic system.
Nice.
It's when you think of it, it makes a lot of sense. And this is just, I don't know, boys. What do you think? Do you think at the moment, do you think it makes a lot of sense to have a system like this?
I mean, I think it would allow for
It
quicker.
cuts out a lot of the
deployment.
human error.
Go ahead, Reelogic.
I think it would make it quicker
Yeah, it would be
if
fast.
everything was working.
Shelldrake, go.
I was just thinking, yeah, it'll be something that would be quick into action, but I'm just seeing too many components that can fail easily.
True.
That's my only issue,
V3?
really, and the fact that it's a wheeled truck.
Yeah. V3, what about you?
It cuts out bloggins taking forever on the 3 site.
Yes, it does. So, folks, just so you're aware, if you're new to gunnery, and not new to gunnery, but if you haven't been in gunnery for a while and you've kind of got a little rusty in the edges, using the 3 site can be a little hokey. Fire discipline, we are dug into the soul of our core of our bodies and minds when we talk about fire discipline in the artillery and learning how to use the gun. But the reality is sometimes that you have other things going on in your trade, or you have other things that you're taking part in, and you can get a little rusty on what's called the 3 site. So what we're talking about here, and I just want to go back to... So this item that we're looking at here is what we call the panoramic sight. So the optic at the top here rotates to line up the gun where we want to aim it. I'm going to say this very... with caution. It is like using a optic of a rifle. I'm going to say that very broadly, but it is kind of like using the optic of a rifle to line up where you need to shoot. If you haven't been on this for a very long time...
With 4 hands.
Yeah. If you haven't been on this for a very long time, it can take time to line up the gun. It can be a little tricky, especially at night. But as, the boys have said, it would speed the process up quite quickly. Things would change in terms of how fast you could get the gun, what we call in action, which means ready to fire. Okay? Which takes a lot of prep to do as a field gunner. It takes a lot of preparation to do so. Oh, here we go. Ready for this? Hey, boys. Twigleg50 just asked, what is fire discipline? One of you needs to shout it out. Let's go.
Fire discipline is the language of fire control. It consists of words, phrases, rules, and conventions which have specific meaning and result in some definite action at the gun.
Boom. Boom. He just killed it. Good job, man.
I've actually got a photo of a C2 dial sight.
Nice.
That I can move my camera and show everyone.
Do it. Oh, nice.
Give me a second. Yeah,
so
that is a C2 dial sight looking at a collimator.
There you go, guys. You see that? So this optic is what we're using to line up. We'll talk about this in another podcast in the future. But that optic is what you're using instead of all this automatic stuff that we see on the screen right now. So as a normal field gunner, what Shelldrake just used or showed there is something that we would be using if we were on the field guns. But this system still has that, but primarily it's not using it as much, right? So anyway, let's continue on. Let's get to the next stage of this thing, because...
to the automatic fire control system in real time. It guarantees the firing accuracy by compensating for deviation in aim angle caused by the firing impact. The gun drive system consists of the drive control unit, the elevation traverse driving device, the gun carriage, and the gun travel lock. Linked with the automatic fire control system, it lays the gun automatically. If necessary, however, the semi-automatic gun laying using a joystick and manual gun laying are also possible. The mounting structure system is made up of a mount structure with a cabin for the crew, outriggers, slide-type side protection plates, and ammo storage. The system provides the places to install the key parts on, support to gain...
Okay, so let's pause it there. So... Clearly, we knew that we were going to get a little extra side panels here, but I honestly thought there was going to be a lot more room than that.
Yeah, it's not a lot of room.
It's still not much. What's that, like a foot and a half extra?
Yeah,
that's
like 5 inches.
Look at the gap, like it's tiny. It's added nothing.
And it also looks like that would probably be about just below knee height. So if you step back or if the truck recoils too much, you're going over and landing on your neck.
Oof.
Oof. That would be a pretty big oof. But my concern really with this is preparing of ammunition. Right? What you've probably got, 4 or 5 feet there? Now, I know you have the ammunition in these kind of ready rack components area here, but it'd still be a bitch to mate that ammunition up in that
Oh.
infrared space.
I have just realised something.
Yeah, you're stepping
Look at
around.
the
Custom
bottom.
podcast for the super chat. I love the emoji, by the way. Is that a dancing hippo? He's got like the super chat is a dancing hippo. Like, I don't even know, breaking down dancing with camouflage on. That's amazing.
So look at the bottom right of the back of the cab. I think that's where you pull out your ammo from.
This one?
Yeah, I believe you pull your tube out and then mate your ammo on the deck. And it would be like a gravity-fed magazine.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if it's that complex, though. That might just be an extra area to shove your salvage in. I think this bin is where your ready rack goes in. I think this might be for salvage and gun stores. It'd be cool if it was that. Like, if it dropped out a fresh round each time. But
You know what would really suck?
But then how would you determine what type of round?
True. That would be for an automatic,
True.
I guess, carousel system there. That would be a lot of infrastructure for that. And I know carousels because I do it in my other job. But that would be a lot of work in that small space to create a carousel.
Would they only be carrying HE then?
No.
You know what would really suck? To crack ammo tubes.
The what, sorry?
Oh, yeah, all the range project
Having to
after that.
What were you saying, V3?
having to crack ammo tubes, having to crack open ammo tubes on that deck is gonna suck.
Well, and at the same time, if you're in a fire mission, like if you're in a fire for effect, and you have round after round punching out the back of this thing, because let's be honest here, guys, we're not working with, one piece ammunition where it's fire and forget. Brass is coming out the other end one way or the other. So if you've got, fire for effect, say 20, 30 or so rounds, you can prep them all you want. But if you've got empty brass pouring out the back of this thing and people trying to prep ammo at the same time, it'd be tough. It'd be really tough.
And you wouldn't be able to go in front of the trunnions when you're in a fire mission. So it eliminates half the deck.
Yeah, exactly. Well, unless the gun's
Not with that short barrel.
This is what I think, though. I think the gun primarily shoots to allow for more space from a 90-degree angle, which then allows you to somewhat optimize more of the deck space. Well, maybe not. No, that wouldn't make sense.
You would still, it doesn't matter the angle. You would still not be allowed to be in front of the trunnions when it's firing.
Well, for us, maybe the South Koreans would be like, screw this, we'll get wherever we want to shoot. Can you imagine being a dude underneath here prepping ammo while that's going off above you?
We actually had
no.
We actually had a warrant officer get done by it twice. He was out in front of the guns, and they fired over the head because he was doing the safety data, and they picked him up off the floor, and he had a blood nose both times.
Yeah, that would suck. Concussion alone from that.
We actually had infantry pull that by accident one time.
Jeez. Now
We had infantry decide to do a patrol right in front of our gun line.
Now, some people have made some fairly good points here. Like the brass would probably just get thrown off the side. That's fair. That would be fair. But it's still a lot of action. Already. It's still a lot of action in that area, right?
Yep.
A lot of action. A lot of stuff going on. Okay, let's keep going.
Also, if you throw your brass off the side and the cart case lands up, that's a cart and the rest of the debt has to buy you.
So, guys, if
that's
you don't
the Aussie rules.
So the rule is, guys, if you are unloading of the gun and you pick up the empty brass casing and you throw it, so this casing that Shelldrake has right now, as you throw that casing away, if you throw it and it lands upright, so if it lands like that, okay, you owe that person beers. That's the rules in the artillery. So it's almost like an ongoing, I guess, rule or joke that we have is if you throw that thing and it lands perfectly upright, you owe that person the beer. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter. But I've seen it only once happen for myself. Well, I didn't throw it. I've seen someone do it.
Oh, no.
Luckily, I was actually going through training, so I didn't have to buy any beers. And I think I was getting shouted at too much for my number one to even give a crap. But
my number
one second, I am so sorry, Ben Pierce. I accidentally just timed you out because I thought you were the other guy. Yeah,
He'll come
I'm
back.
so sorry.
It's okay. He'll come back. Ben Pierce, we apologize.
V3 owes you a beer.
Yeah, V3 just
I owe
threw
you nothing.
V3 just threw the cartridge case upside onto the front. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's keep going.
Against firing impact and operation space for crew members. It is modularized to be mounted in various types of vehicles according to the customer's requirement. The communication system is made up of an FM radio and intercom, which allows the wired wireless data and
FM
voice.
radio.
FM radio.
Rocking out. They're rocking out. They're not doing gun stuff. They're just rocking out.
No
They're
VHF.
trying to win money on the latest cash cow thing.
There's no VHF or
You're playing Fortunate
HF.
Son.
It's just FM radio. I think they may have got a bit of a typo in there. There's no way it would be running on standard FM wave. It must have high frequency and a very high frequency radio wave. There's no way that it can't be.
Oh, so they're going to play Fortunate Son.
Look at that 50 cal though. It's a beast. I don't know. They haven't done so well on the protective guard there. It looks like they ran out of metal. Right there. Okay, so we're not too concerned about
Communication with the Fire Direction Center or internal communication among crew members. Upon customer's request, the system can be configured with various communication alternatives.
Okay, so let me just... I know there's another video on this, and I want to see if I can find it. It's the Evo 105. Evo 105. There it is. This is a 7-minute long video. We're going to watch this one too. We've got plenty of time. We've got another hour left of the stream, so...
The 105mm wheel self-propelled.
Can you guys... can the podcast hear the audio of the video?
Negative.
No.
Darn. Okay.
Negative on that one. I can barely even watch it.
Darn it. Okay, well, we'll just
Why
watch...
It's
why
a
was there a
slideshow for me.
Clive Palmer video recommended to you? Are you getting into Australian politics?
I may have been looking into a bit of friendly Geordies. I cannot confirm nor deny it. Anyway, we're going to play this muted then. So, well, I'll play it with volume and then I'll just pause it and explain what he was talking about, so at least the podcast boys can hear.
Howitzer Evo 105. 105mm wheeled self-propelled howitzer is a cost-effective, modern artillery system which integrates in-service 105mm howitzer and a 5-ton truck with automated operation system. It is
So, it's, like, the really, in terms of what they were just saying, guys, is basically it's a 105mm gun. So, that is...
105 peak of evolution.
Peak of evolution.
What the? Sorry.
Guys, do you think the 105mm gun is the peak of evolution?
It's still an effective weapon system. I'll give it that.
It still does what it needs to do. I think...
Maybe
I don't
not
know
the
if
peak
it's
of
the
evolution.
peak of evolution of artillery, but it definitely is effective still. Okay, let's keep going.
in service 105mm howitzer and a 5-ton truck with automated operation system. It is a state-of-the-art, best artillery that can carry out shoot and scoot tactics required in modern war.
There it is! In the flesh, boys! Look at it! Beautiful. In the flesh.
And there she is.
There she blows. Okay, let's keep going.
Warfare. Evo 105, evolved wheeled self-propelled howitzer.
I want to actually see what it's doing.
Just so you know, I can't hear you guys when you're talking when it's playing. It's super loud. I'll just pause it and we can keep going.
The composition of Evo 105. This cutting-edge artillery, Evo 105...
By the way, it just said cutting edge. Cutting edge artillery, boys.
consists of the 7 major subsystems. Vehicle system, control system,
Seen all this already.
which are coupled with location, the gun drive system, against allows
Okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
I hope they show live fire. Here we go.
distinctive
Ooh.
features of Evo 105.
It's a beast. Look how thick she is.
Oh, that is such a Mack truck.
That is a thick boy. That's an MLVW right
She
there.
is thick. Have you seen that? Have you seen that meme that I posted the other day of the F-16, the Block 62 F-16 that has like all the extra stuff attached to it for I think it's Pakistan or wherever it is, and it's got. I see if hold on, I'm gonna find you the meme now because it's hilarious. Hold on, I gotta find it. I can get it up on screen.
It looks like one of those homebrew like armored ISIS trucks.
Well, this just
Like it looks like there's a lot of kind of plates to it.
No. It reminds me of the cartel trucks that were for El Chapo's son.
Look at this though, boys. What symbol is that?
Tesla.
That's Tesla.
I told you it was a hybrid.
Yeah, that's full electric, man.
It's a Tesla truck. That is. Look how heavy it is.
That's why there's no room for the. That's why there's no room for the crew. There's a huge fucking battery in it.
It drives itself. Auto driver.
Yeah, that's what all the CPU is for.
You know, Tesla cars have those games you can play on the dashboard. Like you can play like Mario Kart. That's what that has inside of it.
Oh. I just realized what this is, and this is going to make me a lot of enemies saying this. This truck is the Make-A-Wish truck for infantry.
Oh my god.
So they can finally play artillery. It does everything for them. They just sit there and go, yeah, I did it!
And then the other symbol kind of got me a little bit. If you just add a little bit more of a black circle to it, what does that make? It's the rebellion. It's the stars. It's almost the Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Or it could be someone giving the middle finger.
That's true. But look at the suspension on this, boys. Look at the ground clearance. So the back end is thick loaded and the front's like about to lift off the
Wait,
floor.
Is that a muffler behind the front wheel?
Yeah. It's blowing right into his face. The muffler's coming out. And he's just getting a windful of that.
It's blowing right into the gunner's face. Holy.
I reckon we give this truck to V3 for a week. It'll be rolling coal.
Oh my god! Can you imagine being that gunner though? And that
Real
just
question
blasting
though.
Your face?
Real question. What the hell is the gunner standing on?
I don't know.
It's already jam-packed in there.
He's standing on his buddy's head.
No, I reckon he's probably standing on top of the ammo stowage.
Well, no, because I think the ammo storage is in this.
Oh no, it's in the middle. He's probably got one leg on it.
He's doing the splits.
Or he's just really tall. He's got like really long
strapped in there.
He's really, really tall. Like
and just a really short upper torso.
Yeah, his torso is really short, but his legs are just ridiculously long. He's specially recruited for this one role.
Have we got the vehicle for you? That's amazing. I just feel really bad for the guy with that exhaust, though. Like, he's on the machine gun, just like, all of a sudden, the engine starts revving up, he's blinded. Damn.
Oh, could you imagine also starting that up in a gun shed to drive it out?
Shit. I just feel sorry for the suspension more than anything, though. That truck looks like...
It's like starting my car.
Yeah, but yours is a dirty Volkswagen diesel.
I already told you what your car is.
You've been lied to, Dimitri. You've been lied to so many times.
Oh, yeah.
My Volkswagen, they lied to you about the emissions.
They lied to you, and then you modified it.
Oh. Okay, let's keep going here.
Now, the features and performances of the wheeled self-propelled howitzer.
Wait. Go back.
That is...
Wait. Ah, where is it? There it is.
Oh.
Look at that. Straight into his face.
That is the most bored gunner I've ever seen.
He looks happy, man. He looks happy.
I mean, he's
not happy. He's asleep. The carbon monoxide out of the exhaust has put him to sleep. He's just been propped up. What you can't see is the elastic straps holding him upright.
Or he's like a mannequin.
It's weekend at it's weekend at Kim's.
I love the gun shield too. Like, come on, guys! If you're gonna put a protective shield on, at least protect his stomach. Like everything else is fail.
Or his face.
Don't need no face where we're going.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose he is wearing a helmet. That will help.
Well, no one will be able to see him anyway because he'll be covered in exhaust fumes.
It's free campaign.
He comes out of the bush at night, and all you see is him smile.
Okay, let's keep going. That's all.
Performances of the wheeled self-propelled howitzer.
Okay, boys, there it is. There's the ammo stories. Let's go
All right.
back a little bit here. There we go. So,
Yeah, so I was right, except it's not. Oh, you were right. Sorry. So
yeah, I don't think it's a
it
carousel.
is. You can dump it underneath.
Yeah. So there's 20.
Is that a freaking 2-sight?
Yeah, he's got a
That's
tank
another
telescopic
thing.
on there. So stream, just so you know, if you're not aware, what V3 just mentioned there is the gun on the other side. So on the right-hand side of the gun, this is what we call our tank sight or our tank telescopic sight or our 2-sight. So we use that sight to directly direct fire the gun at tanks, which is something you don't ever want to come across with this gun platform, especially in this configuration.
Never.
But yeah, they have one on there, which is interesting. So, and is it a 3-man crew? I can't. Well, obviously it's more than a 3-man, but in the back it looks like just
Propelled
no, there's 3. So 1, 2, 3. So
Yeah.
I want to see what these guys.
3 on the deck.
Let's play this nice and slowly here. So settings.
I honestly think it's a 5-man deck, 3 in the cab and 2 up in the front of the truck.
So there's 1, 2, 3 of them there.
There's nobody on the 50 there.
No, so it's still manual firing. Look, he's gonna pull the lanyard. Boom. Beautiful.
Hold the tit.
That truck rocks a lot.
Just watch that again.
All I
That is a
can
good point.
imagine
Where are
is
they-
like
where's the
the
50 cal
recoil of. All I imagine when I think about this thing firing is when you watch the Hawkeye fire. Just this thing going boom.
Here we go. Watch the truck. Watch the displacement at the top of the truck.
Oof. I'd love to watch this with goofy sound effects.
This is awesome because the self-propelled
What's
boys.
more impressive?
Go ahead, V3.
What's more impressive is the fact that the guy standing right next to the barrel did not flinch at all.
Let's go back.
Hey, real gunners don't flinch.
Like he didn't even move.
This guy?
Because he's asleep.
This guy?
Not that guy, not that guy. Well, I don't know. It's frozen for me. I can't really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I like this scene because the self-propelled boys, the tracked guns, are just watching in awe. Look at the rest of the troops. They're just like, what is this thing that's just showed up?
Oh, there goes the Make-A-Wish kid.
The self-propelled guns are just like, hold on a second, this is our gun position. Where the hell did you come from?
Just
Who
some
let the
random
paws
guy
in our
who's walking
position?
up. He's like built this at home. He's just like an artillery hobbyist, and he just rolls up to the gun position.
Can I join in, fellas?
Recovery's lurking off in the distance.
Who allowed the paws on the range again?
Thank you for the super chat, Custer. Oh, that's awesome. The rest of the gun battery is just like, dude, we're firing.
Man, Custer is spending big money.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's got a running
He's got a running hippo.
hippo.
Thank you, Custer the Pipe Cat, for the super chats. I appreciate it very much. Fuck, that's hilarious. I just love how he's just pulled up in that gun position there. He's just like, yeah, I'm shooting here now. Okay, let's keep going. It's a little too slow. Play like speed.
The features and performances of the wheeled self-propelled
Yeah,
howitzer
over
can
the
be
side.
explained from 5 aspects in comparison.
Let's play that again.
Yeah,
Wait a
he
minute.
just
That's a
discards the
weird-
5
case
millimeter towed
directly over the
howitzer.
side. So, there he goes.
Wow. So still got the 2-sight, still got the panoramic sight on there too. It's interesting.
5mm towed
Real
howitzer.
quick,
Yeah,
are we sure it's 2-piece ammunition?
it has to be. It's got to be.
Because I do not see the guy carrying any. I don't see any sort of charge bags being thrown.
Well, maybe they
Maybe
predetermined
that's
it.
No.
I think they may have predetermined it. They must have. It's the
Same gun platform.
If you've got enough, if you've got enough warning, you can mate enough ammo for the mission.
Or what if he's just
When do we
rocking
ever
charge
have
7?
enough warning?
They might just be rocking charge 7. Well, we'll know if they're rocking charge 7. Let's play that gun firing back a bit, and we'll see if it's a charge 7. That's going to recoil's going to be insane.
Now,
Beep beep. Here comes the fun bus.
Okay, charge 7. That was kind of close to a 7 by the looks of it. Now recoil on that thing.
That
Mm.
looks like a 5 or a 4.
Okay, here he goes.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Yeah, there you go, guys.
Thank you, dude.
It's still recoiling.
Hold on. We have to hold for a second. Custard, where are you getting these pictures from? Now we have a hippo with a robotic claw and a missile on its shoulder. Thank you, Custard the Pike. I don't know where he's getting these emojis from. Okay, so let's go back to this. So, do we
Real
think
question:
it's a
where's
charge-
getting his money from? Holy crap!
Yeah, I know, dude. Stop sending cash. Stop sending super chats. I appreciate it.
Send it directly to me instead. I'm kidding.
Okay, let's try this again. So this is going to be a charge 7. We think? Do we think?
Yeah, as
Look how
I
slow
said
it's
earlier,
recoiling, though.
that recuperator on top is doing a massive job.
Yeah, it is. So stream,
I
just so you
think
know
it's
what...
cranked.
Oh, it's cranked. Just so you know, guys, the recuperator, the recoil mechanism is the tube on top of the barrel. So every time the gun's firing, the gases and the oil inside of there are working against one another to bring the gun back into battery, which means the gun is sent forward, back into the lock position for you to fire again. So the recoil of the gun is being taken from that, which is why the guys are mentioning it, because being this is on a gun tractor like this, you need as much recoil as you can taken away in this system, because if you don't, you're going to destroy the frame of this truck. So what we're saying is, in terms of charges, we're trying to determine whether or not... I think it's 2-piece ammunition, but V3 made a very valid point that he thinks it might not even be 2-piece ammunition, and that the projectile and the casing are standardized. So they're all at a set charge, i.e. the number of back charges in the case, so that the computer and the math take over. So that no matter what you fire, it's going to give you what you want. So there may not even be any ammunition manipulation needed. You may not need to change or cut out charge bags from the casing. You may just have it all ready to go. But we're just going to check to see if this looks like a charge 7, because the more charges you put in, folks, the further the gun goes back. So we're just going to see here if it would look like a charge 7. I would say that's pretty 7-y.
That's a lot of recoil.
Let's watch that one more time.
Buffeting.
I don't think we should compare it to the C3 though.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
Barrel.
you've got to remember that's also a short barrel.
Differently.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I still think it's 2-piece though, boys. But let's
I
keep
would
going.
say 2-piece.
Let's keep
Well,
going.
like look how slowly that's resetting.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna go with 2-piece.
I've got the
Yeah,
It's
I was
taking
right.
a solid
5-man
5
crew.
seconds to reset.
No, it's because I've got the playback speed down. V3. I've turned the playback speed down so that we can watch it.
But we just saw something. I am correct. It is a 5-man debt.
So now it's full speed. So it's a 5-man debt. All mission carried out by 5.
It's still
crew
pretty
members.
slow.
It is still pretty slow. So 5 members, boys. So I can see 3 in the back, 1 on the one mannequin on the gun, and 1 in the driver's cab.
So I reckon that would be your 3 gunners, your number
dibs.
1, and a driver.
Okay, actually, V3 raises a pretty good point. Boys, where in the gun would you like to be in this detachment?
On this
Maybe
particular
number 2.
gun, I'd
Cabin.
prefer to be the driver.
Yeah,
I'll take number 2. I always like number 2.
I'm going on that 50 cal just so I can get smoked. I'll be like a smoked kipper when I come out.
I'll hang out in the cabin with the heat and the AC, and it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think on this particular weapon system, I'd be the driver.
Okay, so we have 5 crew members here then, guys. So normally we would have how many in a gun detachment? Starting from...
32.
How many, Mr. Reelogic?
32.
32. Actually, it's a good question for Shelldrake. In the Australian artillery, how many was in your detachment? 7?
How long's a piece of string?
It's very true.
No, so depending on the size of your gun, depends on your max and minimum manning. So minimum manning on a 105 is 5. Max manning or deliberate manning is 7. And on a 155, it is minimum manning 7 and maximum manning 10.
There you go. So this system itself is
Your
technically
minimum
reducing...
is 5?
Go ahead, V3.
The minimum in Australia is 5 for a 105?
That is by doctrine.
Our minimum
You
is
can
1.
run it. You can run it with less, but by
Because we can
doctrine,
run
5.
as low as 3.
So you'd have your number 1, your number 7, and you guys on the guns.
Shelldrake, what's your standard artillery right now? You have the light gun, and then you have that big bugger. What is it? Not the 777. You have something else?
No, we used to. We used to have the L118, L119, sorry, which is a big brother to what the British and the Americans have.
Okay.
Our barrel's longer and have a percussion firing instead of electronic firing like theirs. But anyway, we've got that, which is now gone. And we did have the M198, which was also an old American gun, hence the denotion M. We are now onto the M777, and we do not have a 105 anymore.
Interesting.
But the Australian Army is looking into and considering self-propelled.
Wow.
Maybe they'll pick up one of these pieces of shit.
Okay, let's keep going. So we've got a 5.
That's an opinion.
That's an opinion. So they've already removed 2 crew members from a standard 7-man detachment, which we would operate normally as a normal detachment in our gun crews for the Canadian Army would be 7. Right? But in this role, they've already negated 2, and technically the truck driver is not necessarily needed, nor is the gunner. They can technically set up position in all 3 of these, just go all day and go ham. So kind of interesting, really. Okay, let's keep going.
Firstly, 5 crew members, including a driver, can execute all kinds of missions.
God, even the silhouette is ugly.
Really juddery.
Secondly, it can fire the
I can
first
just
round
imagine
in
those
less than a
pistons
minute.
getting so messed up with dirt and road debris.
Oh, it'd be nasty. Look at
And
this.
soon as you
hold
get
up.
a scratch on that tube,
True. So first,
Hold up.
go ahead, V3.
Anyone notice just how much those side doors, like those side panels, opened up?
It's a decent
That's a
amount.
fall hazard.
Hold on, let's try this again.
There's nothing
Well, there's a
underneath
floor.
them.
Yeah, there's a floor. It's got to extend out, no?
Secondly, it can fire the first round in less than...
Holy cow, this is juddery. I'm going to try and refresh the page.
buffeting.
Some heavy buffeting. Doing that.
947.
You think
5
it's juddering for
millimeter.
you?
True. Okay, let's try
It's
Go
this.
because
howitzer.
of V3 and his tin cans and string internet.
Firstly, 5 crew members, including a
Smokes
driver,
Yeah,
can execute
when the
all
Aussie
kinds
takes
of
the
missions.
piss out of your internet, you know you got it bad.
Secondly, it can fire the first round.
Oh, shit, I lost it. Hold on,
Yeah,
try that
there's
again.
nothing
It
there.
looks like there is a floor plate,
It
but
can
there's
fire
no
the first
siding.
round in...
Ah.
It doesn't show if
Well, no,
long
it's just
enough.
2 bars.
No, I think the plate flaps
Secondly, it
down
can fire
after
the first...
deploying it. So I think this thin black strip you have here, I think that flops down and like because you can see the outline of where that plate sits. Do you know what I mean? We'll probably see it a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
But to Shelldrake's point earlier, So those bins must be for gun stores. Right, you know we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
I think that's what's in there. And there's your ready rack for ammunition. But still.
I still don't see any ramming rods or cleaning staves, depending on what you call them.
I told you, handspike attached to the front for intimidation factor 50 plus.
Reelogic, can you imagine doing cam nets on this thing?
No, I can't.
You've just triggered flashbacks.
Well,
Cam nets.
Reelogic had a lot of fun watching my gun detachment through my artillery gunner training. Set up the cam nets probably 8 or 9 times in the blistering sun because we didn't set it up quick enough. It was.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting against the MSVS tire. Me and my dad are just watching you struggle in the heat, thinking it would really suck to be those guys over there. Let's go have a go.
Blistering sun. What was it? 19 degrees Celsius.
Oh yeah.
It was 45 degrees.
The cam net stole my C9.
It was 45 degrees Celsius out, 95 degrees or 95% humidity.
It was nasty. It was gross.
And we're all dying.
I must have, like, by the time I got to the 8th time of putting that cam net up, I was ready to want to kill myself. Like, it was just...
Oh, I saw it. I thought.
I think Reelogic watched me snap from a distance.
Yeah. When people hear about love-hate relationships with the military, this is where you get that from. You love it, but they make you hate it so much.
Someone's really pissed at you when they scream your first name. Like somebody who's never called you by your first name in the army your entire life, when they scream your first name, you're like, oh shit, something bad is about to happen.
Yep.
It's like when your mum uses your full name.
Yeah. The first name just it's odd.
So first round firing.
Round in less than a minute.
Within 60 seconds. That's pretty impressive, boys. I think that's really what's going to take the biscuit here. 60 seconds. So that's basically stopping the truck, getting out, going to the back of the truck, displacing ammunition you need to get out, loading it into the gun once you've got your method, and applying data, and off you go. 60 seconds is pretty...
60 seconds, that's pretty quick.
And I want to show you another video after this because it's really interesting, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about this on the next stream because we've got about half an hour left. I want to see if we can try and squeeze it in, but this seems to be a pretty big game changer, though. Go ahead, V3.
I think it's 60 seconds before the army gets their hands on it, because then that adds an extra minute and a half.
Fair one.
Yeah, it actually seems to be giving a level of plane. So if the truck is off center, I'm assuming those support legs could level it out.
Well, I think it's that too, but if you notice, this is the azimuth of the truck, right? This is showing the direction of the truck facing. This is showing where the gun is in angle, right?
I think that's kind of pretty pointless.
What's that?
I think that's kind of pointless, in my opinion. Turn around. Why are you looking at the screen? Turn around and look where the gun is pointing. True. Why do you need to look at a screen and be like, oh, yeah, there it is. It's pointing that way.
True.
Turn around, you can see it.
I heard that in the voice of my warrant.
Okay, let's keep going.
A minute after receiving the firing mission.
Damn, son. Look how fast that gun goes up. Let's just replay that. Holy
In less than a minute after receiving the firing mission.
I'm thinking that's sped up.
No, it's not. That's legit, man. That is how fast that gun goes up.
Less than a minute after receiving the firing mission.
Man, someone gave that gun Viagra or something, because that's too fast.
That would take us... you know what we should do one time? If I can get approval from...
That would be amazing.
What would be good for my chain of command is if I could have a battery gun elevation competition. That would be fun, and see if we could film it for the channel. But I'd have to get permission. But it takes a lot of effort to get a gun up.
Do you want to make enemies?
Do you want to make enemies?
Do you want to make enemies? Because that's how you make enemies. I can't remember. We had actually counted how many times it took from the rest position of a gun to get to high elevation and to low elevation.
That's why
I don't know about you guys, but do you have a resting elevation?
We leveled the barrel.
We'll level the barrel, but like 300. We do a lot at 300. Like our standard angle test is check at 300, and so there's a lot there.
I mean, like when you're stowing the gun for, say, for the night or whatever.
800.
Because
I have a bit of a relevant story time.
We used to have a stowing a storage angle because of because the L119 has big balancing springs on it. So it was the best place to elevate the gun to for less tension on the springs.
Yeah, well, usually
we park ours at 700.
We do ours at 800. I think it's probably just a unit.
It sounds pretty familiar. I can't remember exactly what ours was, but that sounds pretty close to what we were at. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 800 mils.
Speaking of elevating a gun, so I was on an exercise that was supporting a CP course, and we were doing a night shoot illumination. So we were doing high angle, and they were kind of just learning how to do it and kind of figuring out. We ended up unloading that gun and reloading it about 8 or 9 times.
Oof.
By about the third time, my arm was numb.
The only time I've ever had a competition of elevating the gun was actually with the civilians. When they were on a Canada Day thing, we had them, they get to kind of interact with the gun, and we had this one competition of how quick you could elevate the gun. And this one guy, he was an absolute beast, but he was skinny as a rake, like total bare bones, no meat to him, and he killed it. And then you got this big, massive dude comes along, he's like, yeah, I could kill it, and he was dying. And this guy came back, he's like, he like nudged me on the shoulder. He's like, did you beat my score? I'm like, no, man, you killed it. Like, he owned the whole day. I think like we had 30 people go through, and this skinny little dude just absolutely annihilated it, which just goes to show sometimes it's not about how much muscle you have. It's about the technique of finesse you have to elevate the gun. Kind of interesting. Okay, so, I mean, to me, some people in the stream are saying even with a motor, that's a little too fast. Trent dabs, even with a motor, it couldn't go that fast. I don't know, man. I mean, let's just try that one more time here. No, I'd say that would be pretty realistic. I mean, I haven't changed the settings. Everything's normal. I would say that's...
I feel like that's a safety hazard.
Well, if you're underneath that gun, you're pooched, right? If you're underneath it, you're dead. Like, it'll crush you. But...
Because that's what I'm thinking of. If that thing automatically traverses... and you're not paying attention, you're busy making ammunition, you're going to get crushed.
Yeah, you would not want to be near that gun breech around that fast. Because, I mean,
and that's why you wear a bucket.
That is why you wear a helmet, yeah. That would suck. Anyway, to be honest, though, that's pretty impressive how fast that gun goes up. If that's real, that's pretty impressive. So, let's keep going. Okay, this might be now they're preparing for putting it away.
Departure.
Pretty fast.
Prepare to move.
Oh, yeah. So it does actually bring the wheels off the ground.
Yeah, it does. It lifts the whole truck up. And this gives us a little bit more understanding as to what the layout is of this thing. It's just... okay, so this must be the entrance to the cab through here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right? No. We're on the wrong side. This is the right-hand side of the vehicle. Right? This is where the ammo would be getting ready to be.
I would not fit in that.
That would suck. You know what these are, don't you, boys?
That would.
You know what these are?
Yep.
Hey,
canopy.
Appreciate it. Those are 4 cam nets, baby.
Canopy.
Yep, cam net spreader bowls.
That would suck. Okay.
Speaking of cam nets, did you see the new spreader poles?
The what? The new spreader poles? No, I haven't. Are they like
the new spreaders? Oh my god. They are huge. Like, they are a foot per arm. They're amazing.
Oh, nice. I've not seen them yet.
To go back to the topic of mated and partly mated ammunition, I've actually got a photo that I can show you guys. Ow. So, wrong side. There you go.
There you go.
That is those 2 bags there. They are the charges.
All right, I can take it a little further here, I guess, just a little bit further. I don't know how well the guys can see here, but so this. Can you guys still hear me in the chat?
Yep,
I can hear you.
So
Yeah, we can hear you.
This, boys, it's really hard to see in this small little picture here. But this is the projectile. Don't worry, it's not real. It's totally pretend. Okay, so this is the projectile. This is the one piece part. So this is the part that obviously explodes, and this is the casing. So the casing goes in like that. Now it is 2-part ammunition. So this is what that gun would be firing. Okay, so the bag charges go in here to push the projectile that way, and this is what pops out the other end. So 2-piece ammunition. That's what we're talking about, and that's exactly how big it is. If it was to be like that. So
Both pieces kind of explode.
that's true. We'll put it there for now. No, we'll put it back up on the shelf. So people can look at it. There we go. Okay, so let's keep going. We saw a little loading bay there.
Yep.
Firing position within 30 seconds. Switching to another.
30 seconds for displacement once completed is pretty impressive. So you're talking about literally 30 seconds. No, sorry, 1 minute to put a round down range, and then once you finish, 30 seconds out of there. Shoot and scoot, that is definitely shoot and scoot. That is self-propelled levels there, but without probably the cost of self-propelled, right? Because tracked vehicles in terms of maintenance are 100 times more expensive than something like this. So I don't think this vehicle is really going for protection, other than the protection that it can get out of the area quickly. Because self-propelled.
Yeah,
guns,
I think it's essentially just a lay suppression runoff.
Yeah, it's a shoot.
You would probably fire no more than 3 shots, and then you would scoot.
Yeah,
Speed is its armor.
yeah. Speed is definitely its defense here. Like, it's not there to take on shrapnel. It's not there to take on fire. It's not a protective vehicle, I guess. What I'm trying to say. So
You'd want to be a fast as fuck boy.
but you do have a 50 cal on top though, which is kind of, you know, at least something, right? You could hold off a couple of small soft skin vehicles.
It's kind of awesome.
You should have like triple mounted 50 cals on this thing, like triple gun.
Like the quad 50s or like the
AA guns.
on the half track.
Yeah, like they used to do in Vietnam.
Quad-
Yeah.
Vietnam quad 50s.
Okay, let's keep going.
Nah, dual
Liberation.
20s. Let's do it.
Tool 12.
Jen.
Now, if that was an Australian driver driving that truck, I would be getting into the cab and strapping myself in and then duct taping myself in. So, but otherwise, if it's someone else driving, I'd probably just stay out on the tray and hope for the best.
But I know I was making fun of the suspension on this thing, but look how well it handles across this bit of road here. It's actually not
across
too
the
bad.
piece of road.
Yeah.
Knowing those specs, I'd be duct taping the door shut.
There's the joystick. Here we go, boys. Here's the joystick.
How many gunners do you think would sit there and go,
Fourthly,
pew, pew, pew,
enhanced
pew?
direct fire capability through rapid aiming using the joystick makes possible to demolish.
I gotta say that.
Ooh. Oh, that's a low angle.
That's direct fire, baby.
That's
That's
an
why
open action
Yeah.
right there.
he's going in straight direct fire. He's
Fourthly,
taking out tanks.
the enhanced direct fire capability through rapid
Well,
aiming
pissing them
using
off anyway.
the joystick makes.
I'm going to put that in slow-mo because that is incredible.
Yeah, you do not kill a tank with that thing. You just piss it off.
Enhanced
Oh my god. That's some War Thunder shit right there.
Mm.
Look at this. Look at this. It nearly goes into the back of the cab.
Well,
You know what I'm thinking?
alert there. That's
Douche.
Charge 7 right there. That's tank alert
But-
charge
The
7.
more I think about it,
Yeah.
this weapon system is very area specific weapon system. It
Hey,
is
thanks, Jesse, for the
optimized
super chat.
for going into mountains and stuff.
Hey, but I also realized something. Because this doesn't have a muzzle brake, you can actually use this as the best anti-purse gun ever. You drive that thing up to the front line with Splintex, ain't no motherfucker gonna step.
Look how janky.
One of
it
those
is, right?
fuckers will take out a tree line.
I gotta get back to normal speed.
But like that is an optimized platform for like mountain ranges.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure it is. I'm gonna have to refresh it again. It doesn't. It really doesn't like me pausing and replaying this at all. Let's try and see.
Like that is a perfect weapon for Korea.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
just
Hence why
drive
it's
it up a
South Korean.
mountain. Drive it up a mountain road, park it on the road, turn, fire.
And I think that's
It's kind
that's probably one of its key. Another really good feature of this is I know we're laughing at it because we would never be seen dead firing this thing direct fire, but for these guys in a mountainous region, it kind of makes complete sense.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, because if you imagine if you imagine direct firing that across a valley at another road or so, you could area denial quite easily.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah. Imagine that in Korangal.
Oh god, a drivable 105 in Korangol would be pretty badass. Here he goes again. Look how jangly it is. It's like a big dopey donkey of a vehicle. Improved operability in high angle fire. Okay, why? Oh, okay. Valid point. You see what they're going with here, boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reelogic, would you like to describe exactly what's going
Yep.
on here in comparison?
It looks like they're digging in the trails on that one. No?
Well, it's high angle, so what do you have to do for high angle?
Oh, you have to recess pit.
That's right. So boys,
Dig a pit.
So what we're talking about here, this is the video is comparing the towed gun, so the normal howitzer with its wheels and trails, which is what we use as field gunners, compared to the Evo 105, which is what we're discussing. The picture here is depicting, or the video is depicting the gunners having to dig a recoil pit for the recession of the breech to go into the floor. I don't know if I can find any footage, but honestly,
Wow.
that makes a bit of a game changer. So when you're firing at such a high angle, the breech coming back can actually impact the floor. Not the breech, sorry. The breech doesn't hit the floor. I apologize. The recoil strut that comes down can, which doesn't allow you to elevate all the way up. It gets stuck on the ground. So we actually have to dig soil from underneath the gun to allow it to go further up. With a towed gun, that's a huge, huge time waster and a huge pain in the ass. I must admit, when we're digging high angles and digging that pit, it sucks. And especially for us, exactly, especially for us as Canadians, if it's icy, it's
like
not
concrete.
fun.
Wow, sounds like you guys
Yeah,
need to replace the C3 with a L119 because I never had to do that.
No, because it's your breech and the way in which it operates is further up, right? But this is I would say it's a pretty big game changer, right? So the Evo 105 obviously doesn't require any kind of pit digging. It can go to full high angle quickly. So let's just watch this footage again so you can see what we're talking about.
Because you'd be digging out the floor plates of the truck.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So here we go. So the boys digging out the trails here, digging in the trails.
I suppose you could have removable floor plates if needed.
No, but this is set up so high on that trunnion, it doesn't need it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
See, guys, so this is the comparison. So on the towed howitzers, we have to dig a little bit of soil in here because on our gun, the structure that comes down that holds the superstructure of the gun, it fouls the floor. It gets stuck against the floor. Whoops. Whereas on the 105 and the Evo, it doesn't because it's so high up. So it makes sense. And also, guys, on the towed howitzer, we have to dig the trails in. These are known as the trails. So these large metallic superstructure ends of the gun. There's two of them split. Sometimes they don't. Some guns, there's just one solid piece. But this is in this gun structure that I know, and this gun, it's two.
The real question is who didn't lift the lunette?
Yeah, who didn't lift the lunette? V3's just mentioning that this piece here that's normally attached to towing of the truck should normally be lifted up if it was being into a fire position. But if we're firing, the trails need to be dug into because the recoil is taken away from the gun by digging it into the soil, which again, with the Evo 105, you don't have to do that. So,
thus it provides the same level of operability as the mortar,
Yeah,
even in rugged mountains, and the ability to conduct very...
So it's basically saying...
And
Go ahead.
I was just saying that our towing eye was straight and you didn't need to lift it. It was also hooked up to the braking system on the gun because the gun itself had brakes.
Nice. And this one here is now basically somewhat turning into a mortar, right? Because I think on this gun you can go a little bit higher angle than obviously the field gun, which is providing a more close indirect range of fire that gives you than it would a standard field gun, which again is a nice game changer. If you put a low charge in here, like a charge 1 or 2, and you had it at such a high angle, you could almost dive the rounds close range into enemy objectives that are close by, which is pretty cool.
One thing I want to point out.
As he sucks from his vape.
No, it sounded like he was underwater.
Three?
Oh, my mic's a little laggy. Yeah, I'm here.
I know it's laggy. It's laggy as hell.
I thought someone cut the string on your tin cans.
One thing I want to point out is, look how it looks almost like the casing's a little crimped towards the rotating band.
Say that again?
Like it's really up there.
Is it?
Drive band.
Yeah,
As
like
a mortar, even in rocket bounty.
And like for ours, it's never fully flush.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is true. Wait, what are we talking about here?
The casing goes up to the driving band.
To provide the same
That is
level
the
of
whole point.
operability as the mortar.
Yeah, but there's
He
always
feels
a
like
little
gap.
the casing is the casing's crimped so that it would be fixed ammunition.
Oof, look at that landing there, boys. Look at that. Beautiful.
Synchronized.
Look at this.
That's one
Synchronized
thing
landing.
I suppose you could do with these automated guns. You could do synchronized shots quite easily.
Well, I mean, you can do synchronized shots in any battery or any gun position if you set it up quick enough, but what... I don't know. I don't know if... Let's have a look back here. So we're talking about the ammunition, right? Where are you seeing that, V3?
When he was carrying it, like right there in this scene right here.
There? The driving band's right there.
Yeah, it looks like it necks down just a. Yeah, but it looks like it necks down just a little bit.
Like here? You think
Yeah.
it's crimped? You think it's crimped to the projectile? It could be.
I think so. I think they would use a fixed ammunition and then adjust the range with elevation.
You know, the more I think about it, the more that kind of makes sense, right? I think the system's tailored maybe to one like configured ammo, right? Because one, I haven't seen a single charge bag. The fuses are a little different. If you notice, the fuses are all these black weird things. I mean, maybe they're just a South Korean variant. But I haven't seen any charge bags. I haven't seen any mating of the rounds, them describing mating of the rounds. You might be right. I'm not saying you're not, wrong with that one. It could be that it's self...
Range is only 11 kilometers?
Yeah. So you could just adjust to elevation and your distance away from the target, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that would save you all the messing around with all the ammunition. It's a valid point, dude. So that ready rack is almost like a tank ready rack, right? You're literally just pulling the projectile out. The gun's already set up to collect the right data to the type of charge you're using. You just punch it in and off it goes. I would say that's an option. Anyway, let's keep going.
Conduct various types of missions as well.
Some APCON right there.
So tall though, you'd see it from 10 miles away. Okay, here we go. This is the real piece now. Okay, so now they're testing the 105 against the Evo 105, and this is gonna, I guess, kind of close the. I don't think we're gonna get to the Hawkeye tonight. Or maybe we'll do another stream another time. But this is going to be a closing, I guess, conclusion, wrapping the piggy in a blanket, so to speak, of the 105mm howitzer towed, which we're used to as gunners, compared to the Evo 105 of this video. And it's timed. So let's see how long it takes them to, I'm presuming, get set up, fire a projectile, and leave again. Let's see how this goes. Dig in, they dig in. Apparently that took them 2 seconds.
Wow, they're taking their sweet time.
Took them 4 minutes and 30 seconds with 11 crew members. It took these guys 56 seconds. Now, I am going to do one final... I am going to put the Hawkeye video on after this, actually, because I think it's important. So 11 crew members, that's a little much. We don't have 11 on our guns. Can you imagine having 11 people on the gun? Bumping into one another.
Oh, that would be... I would be punching people.
So apparently it takes 4 minutes and 30 seconds to set up this gun in its towed wheel variant, but in 56 seconds it takes 5 minutes. Really, I think that's what they're aiming for here, right? You know, literally to reduce... Shit. There it goes. Look at it. Look at the speed it's going!
Fast as fuck, boy.
Look at this.
Tall boy.
Oh, he's not messing around. Boom.
Excuse me, Mr. Evo. There's an angry German toaster who would like to speak with you.
Look at them. That took him long. Oh, these were the. Oh, look at that. That's savage. These wheeled boys got nothing. They didn't even hit the target. The field guns still own it. They still kick ass. We're still firing back. And they miss. Too late, suckers.
Bracketing.
Have you seen the Have you seen The Simpsons with Canyonero? Canyonero.
No, Canyonero.
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 Oh, that just makes me want to make a meme now.
One major flaw of the system I can see, though, I'm not sure if it's like it's a real problem with you guys in Alberta, but here in Ontario, huge problem. What happens if it gets stuck?
Very true. Very true.
Like for us lowly towed boys, we just call it an MLVW. We hook onto that and we go.
Yeah, but this would probably be the same. You just get 2 of them towed. Plus, I think it would probably have some self-recovery on there, like a big fat-ass winch on the front. I'd be surprised.
I'm just thinking those support struts on the side, you could potentially put them down, lift your ride height up a little bit, and potentially chuck some stuff under your wheels.
True. Okay,
Still got to recover.
I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to open up one more video here because this is going to open us up because we've got like 6-7 minutes left here. But I want to open up another video. Just give me a second here. I've got to find it.
Quickly!
Because we're going to talk about this next time.
Yeah. And before anyone else in the chat says it, yes, we all made the connection straight away that it looked like the Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we're going to look at real quick here, and we're going to discuss this next stream. So let's just...
Wow, Matt's desktop is so clean.
Silence. Okay, folks, so... So what we're going to look at now, and this is going to be for our next podcast, we're going to have another discussion about it next time. So we've talked about the Evo 105, and next podcast, which I'm not sure when it's going to be yet, but we will set you a time and I'll give you plenty of notice. We'll next talk about the Humvee Hawkeye, which is the Humvee version of what we just talked about. So it's not a truck anymore, it's actually a Humvee. And it's interesting because this video is about 4 minutes long, which is great, it's perfect for what we're looking for. But it's going to bring on to the next topic of dialogue for next time. 105 towed, or towed field gun, like we're used to, and this time it's the M119, which is the American version, which is a little bit different to our gun that we use here in Canada, against the Hawkeye Humvee, which is the same sort of system just on the Humvee, crew of 7, crew of 4, and this is more, I think, applicable to us. So let's watch this here.
So this is the Yank version of the Aussie gun.
That's right. Here we go.
M777.
That is so weird looking.
It's the way they have to set that gun up. The M119 is just... It's horrible to watch. I can't imagine setting up a gun like that. And these crews are pretty proficient, right? I mean, they're not messing around here.
Oof.
It's the wobbly car.
These is 2 people setting this up. 3, 4.
He just smacked that ramp down.
They got to set a generator up for it. Look at this. He's got to set a generator.
Yeah, I'm looking at this M777 and thinking, oh no, they drove it onto the base plate. There you go.
It's not an M777.
Is it?
No, it's a 105.
Oh no, yeah. So yes, no. Sorry, I'm looking at it through my phone and it looks tiny. Yes. So as you saw, that is the gun that I used to work on, but that's the American version of it. Slight differences.
Nice.
Yeah. So you've got to drive onto the base plate, and then after that, you take it off the truck, as you've seen.
But look at that.
And a nice big hand spike there.
Look how much effort they have to put in to get that gun on position. I mean, Reelogic V3, we got nothing to bitch about. Look at these boys. Like, look at that.
And
yeah,
and they don't even have to remove the number 2's wheel.
Damn, son. That base plate must be a bitch. I mean, these guys
Here we
are
go. And traverse. Lift it up. Traverse barrel. Oh no, they did do a wheel thing by the look of it.
These guys are about to fire. These guys are literally about to put a projectile away.
It's just, yeah, it's hard to see on the phone. Traverse the barrel. That was always fun. Yep, he's got the wheel.
oh god.
Smash back on with the reverse thread hub.
Whoa, wait a minute. Go back. Reelogic, did you see that?
Nope.
Look at that. Did you see that? Can you see it? I don't know what you guys are watching.
Elbow deep.
He's like, exactly, he's elbow deep almost in that breach. Folks, just for reference in the stream.
He's also a lefty too.
He is. Just for reference on the stream, when we practice with what we call dry firing, i.e. we're not actually putting a projectile in the gun, we slap, like a slapping of a butt. We slap the breech to initiate as if we put a round in there. This guy is putting his fist in the breech almost and allowing the number 2 to close it nearly. Like, I get it to simulate putting a round in there, but that's looking as if you want to get your knuckles chopped off, or worse yet.
Yeah.
It's a little risque. Just saying. Anyway, let's keep going.
A generator.
I don't even know what that generator's for.
It's got to be for their electronic system, like their.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they
muzzle
use the electronic
indicator and for all that sort of stuff.
What are they firing on the Hawkeye?
It's nothing.
Why wouldn't you
It's
use
just
truck
CGI.
power?
Oh, I was going to say, there's not a lot of recoil going on
No,
there.
it's just CGI. But they're about to go. They're 2 minutes 30.
Why wouldn't they just use truck power like we do?
Good point. You think they just have a NATO coupler at the back here that they just plug it into, right? Because that Jenny's a bitch. Can you imagine lugging that thing around just to set up on the gun?
Yeah.
How come he doesn't have a drip tray under it?
Yeah, where is the drip tray?
And they're still trying to lay the gun in these poor buggers.
It's all futile.
Yeah,
Spin. Leg.
The Humvee's about to bail. They're like, see you dudes.
Look how dug in those wheels are, though.
I was
On
say
the
that's some
Hawkeye.
sweet
Yeah.
It's slick.
Yeah, I feel like that Hawkeye is going to get bogged on the first bit of boggy
Yeah,
ground.
a
It
foot of
actually looks like it
bumping.
already is. That's why it hasn't driven away yet. It's actually bogged.
Waiting for recovery to come.
Well, they stopped the timer, so. They must
Time to
change
fire.
that as well.
So
They
it
stopped the
took-
timer because they didn't want to show it fogged.
They just time lapse the extra 4 minutes to get
Yeah.
packed back up again. Savage.
Holy crap! Could you imagine fitting a gun det in the back of a Humvee like that? Holy shit!
With all
That
your
would
kit.
Oh
That would
god.
not be fun.
Wait.
Okay,
You
well,
would be
With a
smelling
generator.
assholes and elbows.
Okay, well, that gives us a perfect ending to the stream tonight. I think we've pretty much hit all the points we wanted to hit. So, I guess first and foremost, I want to thank all the gentlemen who have joined me for the podcast this evening. Reelogic, Shelldrake, and V3, I really appreciate you stopping by on the stream.
No problemo.
No problem. Thank you for
We've been trying to
having
do
it.
this
We've been
forever.
trying to do this forever. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
We've been trying to get this podcast going for a while, so we're kind of glad we've actually motivated and got round to doing it. This is definitely not going to be a one-off. We're going to be doing a lot more of these, depending on what kind of feedback we get back. I think we've had pretty good attendance tonight. We've had just over 160 average viewers tonight, which is really good for my channel, so it's nice. And obviously, if we can get this scheduled a little bit more, we'll try and bring some more in. Also, thank you to everyone for joining us. It's fun discussing what we have a lot of passion in. We're all gunners at heart, and I know a lot of people probably in the stream are gunners too, of the gunner family, so we take our jobs quite seriously. We have a lot of passion in it, and we love to just share and talk about the artillery. I think it's important. I don't think it gets enough showcasing in the world of the online media, like YouTube and such. So I try my best to advocate for it as much as I can, and I'm sure these gentlemen will agree to that. And also thank you to everyone who's been doing the super chats.
But rockets
today.
are not artillery.
And rockets are not artillery, this is true. Thank you for everyone who's donated on the super chats. It's really kind of you. What I will be doing is I'll be buying these gentlemen a beer or something along the lines of a beer for helping me participate in this stream today. Because they're part of this content too. So thank you again, gentlemen, for being here. And I will catch you all on the next time. I don't know when the next stream will be, but I will give you plenty of notice. And it will probably be in regards to the beautiful Hawkeye that we just talked about today. So that's it, everyone. I'll see you on the next stream. Thanks again, and catch you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.